I guess this is my presentation, and I'm gonna try to not to bore you too much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your interest on what we think is the present and the future, and also the past for the last years of the firefighting operations worldwide. Some people who have been in Tallinn in last year probably have seen part of this presentation, but I want to remind you for what happened last year. In 2021, which was one of those horror years under the world standards, it was the second worst year after 2017. So a lot of countries were affected by the fire. We had the warmest summer on record. I think Sicily got something like 48.8 degrees. The temperature was increased for 5 degrees above the average, and lots of hectares were burned. I understand, under the knowledge that we have, if somebody has a different knowledge, Turkey and Italy were the worst countries in terms of hectares affected. Greece was number 3. And the predictions are not any better. The things are going absolutely to worse. We understand that all the information is saying that there will be a global increase in temperatures and a global increase in regions where historically had very few fires. Now they happen to have more fires. We have seen fires in 2014 and 2018 in Sweden, for example, which is a country that it's not supposed to have those many fires. Even Alaska is having fires. So this is the expectations for the coming years. I mean, if we start from 2022 and we move up, there will be a 40% increase in the next 80 years, which is a lot of time. But we are starting already in 2021, actually, with a huge impact in forest fires worldwide. We're talking mainly Europe, but in any case, we can see this is worldwide. What's happening? That the fires are changing. The fires are changing. Their behavior is more aggressive, and it's changing year after year. We are seeing some sort of a new generation of the fires. I'll go into the name, and it's not my name, so don't give me credit for it. But the fires originally were large forests, and they were even positive for the forest. I mean, cleaning with these fires were even cleaning the forest. But suddenly there was accumulation of fuel, and then the fires started to grow dangerous. They would spread faster. Then we would go to the third generation. We have to adapt a little bit the name of the new fires into these generation names. They became with more intensity. Everyone became more complicated. So urban forest scenarios are very dangerous. I mean, we want to protect the forest, but clearly the idea of protecting the urban wildfire urban interface is something that is becoming extremely critical. We are seeing houses in the middle of the forest. We are seeing houses that are finishing where the forest is starting. And in the fifth generation fire, we have seen intensity and speed. Fires that are advancing at 3-4 kilometers per hour. I mean, really fast advance per hour. Every time a plane would come back with a different drop, the fire had advanced. The head of the fire had been advanced by that drop. So now we are seeing the sixth generation fires. How are they defined? And again, this is not my name. I don't have credit for this name. I don't call them sixth generation fires. I've heard that in France they are calling them mega fires. We are having fires that are starting simultaneously. They are advancing extremely fast. they're even changing the weather around them. I mean, creating an environment that is exceeding the temperatures, standard temperatures around, and we are seeing firestorms, alleged firestorms. So we can start with, sorry for my Portuguese friends over there. We can start with what we historically has been considered the first sixth-generation fire, which was June 2017, and I think that has the trigger for the European Union to think on something needed to be done. There was a need of intercollaboration between countries, and well, we saw this fire in Pedro Grande fire, and well, I mean, the numbers talk by themselves. But there was a good thing. Suddenly, Portugal learned the lesson. They had, I believe, if I don't remember wrong, they had 6 air tractors back then, some helicopters, some other planes. But now in 2021, they've had the lowest year in hectares burned, and they have increased their number of aerial means. So countries that learn their lessons. Everybody has to be prepared. Interoperability in the countries is something extremely important. The mechanism of the European Union, I consider it's absolutely necessary, but the country itself has to be prepared for the beginning of the fires. So what are the experts saying? This is going to be a bit fast. Sorry, I'm finding the number. Climate change, extreme episodes, global warming, no turning point. We need to learn how to live with them, not how to manage them. Complexity. And this is what is more worrying. The most worrying part of the fires, of sixth-generation fires, let's call them like that, mega fires, it's that they are out of the capability of extinguishing them. They grow so big that it doesn't matter what we do. We will not be able to stop them. So this is what we have been seeing. They are outside the extinguishing capacity. These fires grow so big and so fast that suddenly we cannot stop them. But there is always this but. If you are in the first few minutes of the fire with all your means ready for attacking the fire, maybe this sixth-generation fire will never be a sixth-generation fire. No fire will start like a sixth-generation fire, but there will be a point of no return. There will be a point in which if you have done nothing or not enough, then it will become a mega fire, a non-stoppable fire. So this is what we believe on, the early attack, the fast attack. Air patrols. France is doing air patrols for many years. Spain is doing air patrols for many years. Every day that they have the 330s, more than 30 degrees of temperature, more than 30 kilometers of wind speed, and less than 30% of humidity. There are planes in fire. For example, an example of last year in Cyprus. I don't want to go too long on this, but we had from midday until basically 6 or 7 p.m., we had one plane on fire in Cyprus. Cyprus clearly is a small island. It's controllable with at sight. But in every single hour of danger of the day, there was a plane in flight. And that means that the pilot doesn't have to get dressed, get in the plane, take off and load the plane and go to the fire. Suddenly the plane is already loaded with water. This is what we call active air patrols. And now we go to the tool, of course. So what we are trying, of course, it's always to get a fast attack. This is the idea. We need planes that can get really close to the fire. It's not that the big planes are negative, not at all, but you need planes that can really get pinpoint accuracy. You need to be able to drop slow to make a very efficient drop. You need to have planes that can be over the fire without leaving the fire area for a long time. And you need to have them big enough so you can drop enough water over the fire. And then we go back to the active patrol. If you can get a plane in flight while there might be a starting fire, suddenly with one drop, the fire is finished. No mega fire, no fire at all. And if there is any smoke at the end, there is an alert in minutes. So with the capability of expansion of the fires, what we consider, again, the fast attack is more necessary than ever. It's what we consider as the only solution to avoid a plane growing. I heard once, and I think it's very, very clear to understand that if you have a fire like this table, you'll come with a bottle of water, and then you will extinguish it. But if it grows this big as of this room, maybe a plane will not be enough. And if it comes the size of this environment, then let it rain, please, let it rain. So what is that we are using? We are using the air tractor. It will allow that it has several features that will allow, for example, not returning to the base with even one drop. Even if we have a land plane that is loaded on the ground, you can split the drops in two because the fires here and there are small, and you can attack with one drop 2 fires. But in the case of the Fireboss, it's even better because you can go back in very few minutes to the fire, and you can stay over the fire for the following 3.5 hours without a problem. So what we are looking with this aircraft, with the air tractor, what we are trying is the effectiveness, efficiency. We are trying to do to have a great efficiency at a reduced cost. Effectivity is what we need, and clearly at the end we're talking about budget. Budget is very important. So what we want is a plane that can be sustained over the fire for a number of hours without returning to a base or returning fast to a base and being loaded fast. Turnaround time on a Fireboss, if you have water near, I mean, you're loading, you'll see a video now. You will have your plane loaded in 30 seconds. So at the end, it's how far is the water from the fire. If you have a land plane that is being loaded on the ground, since you land and you can take off again, it's about 3 minutes. It's 3,000 liters of water, of course, or retardant, but this is what we are using. Either one plane can be back in the fire fast. Efficiency. That's what we are trying to get with our system. Patrols to attack fast and be inexpensive and efficient. I love this sentence. We will never know how many fires we avoided to become 6th generation. In the history of Catalonia, for example, we've been working in Catalonia since 1995 with air tractors. The numbers were very clear. The fires, every year there were more number of fires, but they were smaller. I'm not going to say that we had the key to it and we are responsible for this, but there were more fires and they were smaller. So that means that a fire is basically starting at 3 p.m. because it's the critical hour of the day, and by dawn, when the day is gone and there is no fire, the fire in general is extinguished. This is our experience. There are a good number of air tractors in the world, flying in Europe, flying in Africa, flying in South America, flying in the USA. I guess 1,000 planes proves the efficiency of the air tractor and the Fireboss in both configurations. So this is what we call it fast attack. This is the idea of the fast attack. The aircraft are located in remote bases, not necessarily international airports. They can be in an airfield. These planes don't need concrete to take off. They can take off from unpaved strips. They do the patrols, of course, and they detect the fire immediately and go for the attack. The idea is that they will go back for more, and then they will do a carousel. It doesn't matter if it's an amphibious or if it's a land plane. The idea is that we will always keep planes over the fire trying to control it. You need to be close, and you need to have enough aerial means to keep the fire to try to keep the fire under control. This is a scooping position. It says somewhere I've read we need 30 seconds to fill out the hopper. This is not exact. We need 30 seconds to complete the maneuver. Since the plane touches the water until it takes off, there are 30 seconds. You will see, you will count. You've seen the beginning that the plane was touching the water, and now in second 29 or 30, you'll see how it takes off. Well, it was taking off there. Probably you've seen it. So we just need about 800 meters of water in order to be able to scoop for these 30 seconds and take off. Now we go to a drop from the inside. What can we get with a drop fast on a fire? Number one, we need to be accurate. A drop at height is not efficient, and it can be, because of the wind, and it can change. I don't know if you, now we have the other, it's the same video seen from the other side. You will have fire here. It's an accurate drop. This is one of the important things of the air tractor when you're using water, but even more when you're using retardant. You have your constant flow, you have your computer fire gate that is controlling your drops. And of course, if the fire goes out of control, then the good thing of having multi-planes doing this job is that the plane in front will guide the way to the others behind and will be able to locate. But this is the problem. Once the plane is out of control, you need hours and drops and more hours and more water. So basically the idea is attack fast and you will extinguish fast in the experience. We need to make firefighting pilots. I've been talking about with some people about night flying. Today, getting firefighting pilots is difficult. Getting them to fly at night, it's going to be critical when it comes the day. But I know also that is also the future, and it will happen eventually. So what we do is to provide them with specific firefighting training, always looking on safety and effectivity. The pilots need to be aware that they need to make a good drop, but always return to their base. Procedures, firefighting procedures. A regular pilot doesn't know what are the procedures, how to operate. We need to give them experience. We are seeing new ways to do this experience, but starting as an observer in the rear seat and then suddenly becoming a pilot that is guided by another pilot, then suddenly you have a pilot that is prepared after a couple of years or 3 years to do a good operation. So what we do, we train them on techniques, on how the fire behaves. This is very important. If you don't know how a fire is behaving in a mountain, rotors, these type of things, it's extremely risky for the pilot and very low efficiency for the operation. So what we need is to get them to fly safely around the drops, to make a good drop, and to understand, and this is something that is also important for the ground people, to understand what type of drops this type of plane can do. Suddenly you're using retardant. You want a long drop that is stopping the fire, the head of the fire. You are using water. You want direct attack on a tree that is burning, and you want it very concentrated. And we have a simulator. So what is it that we need? We need that the pilots can react fast and that they are using the techniques learned because of the environment, because of the mountain, because it's grass, because there is a house near it, preferences on the ideas of on how to attack a fire or where to attack a fire. Sometimes from the air you can see very well that there is a danger in an area. So we need to act safety, always safety. The worst end of a fire is a crash. That's absolutely clear. And the knowledge can only be acquired through the experience. So this is our company. We are based in the province of Castellón in Spain. We are representing and working together with Air Tractor, with Fireboss and Wiper, Trotter Controls. And our group is growing. We have aerial operations in Portugal, Spain. Now we will have planes in Turkey and Greece, Cyprus. So we're trying to grow, trying to spread the word of the Air Tractor. And because every client wants something different, we are creating our own DOA. Some people want FLIR systems, video cameras, live transmission, and we are working to get all of those solutions for our people. This is a real picture, not a drawing. That's our maintenance hangar, that's our runway, and that's our tarmac for planes. We have a simulator. We have prepared mechanics for the maintenance, highly skilled pilots for the training. Again, we do the simulator training. We use all the technology that is available. We try to put it in the training of the pilots. Thank you, sir.